Good evening and welcome to the Society, our weekly Vaesen RPG campaign. My name is Loki and I will be your game master for these dark and thrilling tales. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this, our premiere episode of Chapter 2. And I hope that we delight, fright and intrigue you with mystery and adventure. So without further ado, let's meet our cast. Da-da-da. Off you go!
Hello everyone, I'm Dan, also known as Divin Inc. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing the vagabond Dagmar Eriksson.
I am Matt. I am playing Quentin Ludensberg, the private detective.
Hi, I'm Gus. I'm playing Morton Thorsby, the servant.
We have a number of people we would like to thank for all the resources and contributions they have provided to tonight's episode. The links should appear in the Twitch chat right now, or in the details below if you are catching up on our YouTube.
So our virtual tabletop tonight is the incredible Roll20, featuring their dynamic lighting feature, inbuilt character sheets, and virtual dice roller. Go check them out on roll20.net. In addition, our battle maps were created using Dungeon Fog and all the amazing assets that can be found there.
Our character art was created by the extremely talented Shusha, who you should go check out on Instagram at ZhushaUK. That's ZSUZSAUK. Our game tokens and dice roller tokens come from the Vaesen RPG rulebook by Free League and from the artist Johan Egerkrans.
The music and ambient sound throughout the stream come from Tabletop Audio and Kevin MacLeod at Incomputech, all provided via the Roll. You can check out both these amazing artists out via their websites, tabletopaudio.com and comtech.com.
Hey, you did it! You managed to get your way through your first intro. That's it, the hard stuff's done. The hard stuff is done. We are going to head over to our intro video. Keep your eyes peeled, for there are a couple of differences. Welcome back after our intro. So, Chapter 2. We're going to leave our three heroes from the last few weeks in the discovery that they have made, the hall under the mountain. And we are going to join three new characters, and see what adventure befalls them. We are in Bergen. It is a coastal city. Large, industrial. It is a mash between the old and the new The old, brightly coloured houses on the waterside with the ships that go out to fish and return with their catches, combined with the new industry that is taking root in any nook, cranny or space within the city. Smokestacks, factories, you name it, and it springs up. Even a large, glass-roofed train station filled with the hustle and bustle and adventure that starts at the very beginning of a train line. It is here, on this platform, for a train headed to Hedal, that we meet our first pair of adventurers. One, a famous private detective. The other, a newly acquired assistant. They stand on the platform, admiring the steam locomotive, trying to find the appropriate carriages, as Quentin, being Quentin, shan't be travelling in carriage, but rather in style. And so I'm going to hand it over to you, Quentin, to introduce yourself. And give us a little description.
Yes, so Quentin Ludensberg. You can see him now. He is dressed for travel. So on top of his usual garb of what seems to be sort of a patterned sort of blazer waistcoat and a blue cravat, he has a long brown trench coat and a sort of a blue gambler's hat to sort of help with any changes in temperature and stuff like that, and just to kind of help remain a bit less flashy and noticed. He has brown wavy hair with one like white streak running through near the fringe, which is kind of tucked more behind the hat just to kind of keep it out of immediate sight. And he does have these small sort of wire thin glasses and a beard in front of him. Well, not in front of him, on his face. They're not just hovering in midair in front of his person. And yeah, he is stood next to Mr. Forsby, looking for the appropriate train carriage.
Okay. Morton.
Okay, so Morton, he's quite a stern-looking fellow, quite tall and robust, maybe a little overweight for his age. He's in his early 50s, well dressed, very smart, very kind of prim and proper. Going grey, has a monocle in one eye, and he's looking about officiously, trying to work out the next move and what we need to do. And he's actually looking for a porter on the station now.
Right. There is a lot of hustle and bustle on this platform, actually. There are several porters running baggage to and from the train. There are groups of people, businessmen, hunters, travellers, families. It is all bustle and hustle as people try and find where they're going to sit in the carriage. Where are their seats? Where are their rooms? The train to Hedal is a strange hodgepodge, for the journey to Hedal is going to take a couple of days. You have to traverse nearly from the very edge of Noi into the very centre. And so there are a few carriages devoted just to passengers, day passengers, who will alight at their various stations. And then there are the sleeper cars, devoted to those passengers who will travel the entire length of the journey and will need a room where they can sleep and rest. As you can imagine, with that comes even more chaos on the platform, as some people try to find their sleeper car first with baggage, suitcase, some with servants, some working class. Lurking among the hustle and bustle, we find ourselves Dagmar. Would you like to describe Dagmar?
Sure. So, in amongst this vast hubbub of activity on the platform, we see this not exactly obvious, but slightly worn down, scruffy individual. Their clothes are grubby, slightly torn on the frayed on the edges. They've got short, poorly cut, orangey hair, and they are not joining in with the kerfuffle that's going on around. In fact, Dagmar has identified an unsuspecting individual who is currently struggling with numerous bags and desperately searching for their ticket. Little do they know that Dagmar has potentially snuck their hand into a pocket and removed said ticket, thus allowing Dagmar the chance to travel in the higher class sleeping quarters.
Shady. I like it.
Shady. Very shady.
So, our three characters negotiating their way through the chaos of the platform manage to find Porter to take the bags, find an appropriate car in which to find comfort for their journey. Quentin and Morton board the train, followed swiftly by Dagmar, seemingly trying to remain on Quentin's tail. The train carriage is one of individual travelling compartments. You have a short corridor on one side and sliding doors on the other into small but comfortable travelling rooms that can comfortably seat maybe 6 people, 8 at a push, with a table in the middle and baggage shelves above the comfortable, if not slightly squishy looking carriage seats. At the very end of each of the tables, underneath the window, is a little lamp with a somewhat gaudy lampshade. It screams a desperate attempt at fancy extravagance. A target that it seemingly shoots for and somewhat misses as it turns more into chintz than glamour. Quentin and Morton find one of these travelling compartments, sliding the door open and making their way inside to sit, knowing that their bags are in the safe hands of a porter. It isn't long after that another individual slides open the door and, looking into the compartment, sees that there is a little bit of space. As Dagmar realizes the only way to keep an eye on Quentin is to be in the same compartment. Otherwise, Quentin could alight or wander off. Dagmar closes the sliding door behind, and the 3 of our adventurers find themselves sitting together for the first time. And I'm going to hand it over to you while I twiddle some buttons and read some text and work out what on earth is happening.
Phil, as you slid in, Quentin gave you sort of like, he glanced up for a second just to check there wasn't danger and has sort of gone back to this book that they are scouring through as if it's more important than chatting to people that have come in.
And Morton's going to have a bit more of a look, kind of a "you're not meant to be here" kind of look, but he's not going to say anything at the time because you could have only got on here with a ticket, therefore you should be allowed here. And he's a little confused, but he's going to keep a very strong eye on you, just sort of eyeing you up and down to make sure that this gruffy individual isn't doing anything it shouldn't, to make sure he can protect his new master, Mr. Lugenberg.
So I guess in response, Dagmar's going to see these views. Dagmar's going to see you both eye them up and down. very briefly, clearly assessing who is this scruffy swine. This is not going to phase Dagmar at all. Dagmar's going to beeline straight for a spare seat, nonchalantly put their feet up, and from there, tattered linen knapsack that clearly doesn't have very many personal supplies, pull out what looks like a crusty, stale roll of bread and half a bottle of liquor, pop the cork with a nonchalant evening.
Would you like some better bread? I'm sure we packed some, didn't we, Morton?
Yes, Mr. Lungenberg. But are you sure you want to hand it to the likes of this character here? I'm not even sure they should be here.
Wow.
They are to be our carriage guests, then we should break bread. It's only proper.
I'd be willing
Okay.
to share a wee snifter of my fine liquor here with you established gentlemen. I'll have you know I have a valid ticket, so I have every right to be here.
What is this fine liquor you speak of?
It's, you know, it's a fine scrumpy from the tavern just down the road from the local bakery.
I'm sure, sir, that it won't be as nice as the brandy that we have. I think if you wish to have a drink, I shall get some out.
Of course,
The
we
offer
should
is
share the
there.
brandy. Yes. Would you like some brandy? And I
no.
said, call
It
me
would be-
Quentin. I don't need any of those formal titles, please. Unless it makes you more comfortable, Quentin is fine.
Okay then, Quentin, sir, that's fine. I'll,
Yeah.
and you're sure you wish me to get out the brandy and the bread to share with this individual that has seemed to now join us?
Please, gentlemen, call me Dagmar.
Hello, Dagmar. I would say a pleasure, but I'm not entirely sure right now.
Look
it
up and assess you, because we've obviously been working around here for a little while. Are you... I sort of look at you and it's... Yeah, there's something I can't place. Something I can't place there. It's just like... But yes, of course, let's start off on a nicer foot, shall we?
As you insist, Quentin. And
For yourself and for yourself, Morton.
well, thank you very much. And I shall get up and start rummaging through our bags to find the brandy and some nice food that we may have had, and I shall present it out on the table for us to with a nice plate if we have anything like that, to do it all properly. Put it out and then pour a glass of brandy for everybody, and gingerly pass it over to Dag.
Who am I to turn down such a kind offer? Dagmar immediately pops the cork back in their own questionable liquor, thrusts the stale bread back into the slightly scruffy knapsack, and swiftly helps themselves to the glass of brandy presented in front of them, knocking it back without a moment's hesitation.
I'm impressed.
As this
Nice.
delectable travel picnic is arrayed with some significant class and decorum, there is a shrill whistle from the platform. Flags are raised. The steam engine crew turn into their cab, heave open the furnace door, and begin to shovel in the coal to bring the engine to life. There is that concertina clank that echoes down the station as the carriages are all drawn taut, as the steam engine begins to depart from Bergen Station. It begins to gather up a little bit of speed as it leaves the city and enters into the very kind of open land rails. The journey is one of natural beauty and breathtaking views. As the train meanders its way up one of the fjords and cuts itself through a mountain range, the remainder of the journey is one of rolling mountains, crystal fjords, and little towns and villages that whiz by as the train cuts its way through the rugged and beautiful landscape. Every now and then, the train slows itself down and arrives at one of the villages along the line, stopping for a moment to allow passengers to board and alight, before continuing its journey inland towards Hadal. On more than one occasion, the carriages are plunged into almost darkness as the train careens into a tunnel, blasting its whistle to sound in warning. The little lamp offering enough light that it doesn't become dark, but not quite enough that the room is comfortably lit. Now everyone aboard knows that the halfway point on this journey is a town called Borgund. It is famous for it has one of the largest and most famous stave churches in Norway. It is a good halfway point. The train will stop there for the night so that the crew can sleep, that the engine can be refilled with water and coal. Passengers, therefore, will also be able to sleep in the comfort of their carriages without the train continuing on its journey. As evening begins to fall, there is a slow and steady flow of traffic through the train to the dining cart. It is well appointed. There are several tables dotted around in a very sort of regimented pattern to maximize occupancy in the space, but still make it feel like it is comfortable. There are chairs dotted around these tables, again with these somewhat raucous lamps lighting under the windows. There are staff wandering around from a little bar at one end of the carriage, serving drinks. And you see at the other end of the carriage, the doors fly open as waiting staff come through, perilously balancing dishes of food while still navigating the rocking of the moving train. They distribute the food to the tables to warm faces and those who have exciting appetites. As this time of the evening begins to fall, we return to our carriage, where our three... I need to find a word that isn't adventurous. I play a lot of D&D, so I say adventurous quite a lot. I'm going to Google something else. Maybe cronies? I don't know. Goonies? Oh no, that might be trademarked.
Cronies? Crony? Rude.
Yeah, very rude. Very rude indeed.
Loki and the cronies. It sounds like some sort of like...
It's almost Jimmy Cranky, to be honest.
But we're going to return to this travel compartment as the kind of call for food goes down the carriage. Now, as you are not travelling coach, as you are travelling slightly fancier, you'll know that a meal is actually included in the price of the ticket. It's like a hotel on wheels, basically. And that is what your ticket gets you. Alcohol, on the other hand, is not included on the ticket. A very careful decision made by the train company, as motion sickness and the large consumption of alcohol very quickly go hand in hand. There is a little knock at the door from one of the train guards, who slides the door open and says, "Good evening, good evening. I just wanted to let you know that the dining cart is now available for your carriage. If you wish to have a meal, please come out of your travelling compartment, turn right. It's 2 carriages along, you can't miss it. There will be a waiting staff there for you who can show you to a table. Enjoy your meals." And they slide the door closed. It kind of gives you a little bit of a... It's all manners, but this train guard clearly is in a bit of a rush. Closes the door and walks to the next compartment, and you can just hear muffled voices beyond as the same message is delivered to the next compartment.
People hungry enough now, or do you want to kind of wait a bit and miss the rush for food?
I believe a train like this should be able to cope with the rush, so I don't imagine it should be much of a problem if you wanted to eat now. Quint.
Are you hungry, Morton?
Well, it is that kind of time of day, and yes, as you can see, I quite often are hungry.
Let's get you fed then.
What about our travel companion? Are you coming to the
So while this dialogue is going on, Dagmar has already immediately got to their feet. They've tied their knapsack to the top of their walking stick, and just as you ask that question, Dagmar turns to you and says, "Where I'm from, when a meal is called and a meal is available, you take it. So I'm going to head straight there."
Yeah. Fine outlook on life. Let's all follow that tonight, shall we?
I think that's a good plan. After you, Quint.
Thank you.
And I'll hold the door for him.
Quentin will sort of step past you, and anyone paying enough attention will notice he's a little... He still doesn't... He's a bit uncomfortable with the whole, like, master-servant thing. He's kind of a bit like, yes, thank you. And then he goes to try and hold the door for you, and I don't know if that's possible, if you're, like, blocking it for him. He's just sort of like...
Well, I'll kind of go, but don't carry on, sir, carry on.
It's like this really hideous, awkward moment where you realise you're trying to open the door, like hold the door for someone, but it opens away from you, and you really suddenly, and you're like, "Gosh, this door is really heavy." As you try and like hold it in your arm, is shaking, and you're like, "Come on."
Well, yes, sir. Thank you for holding the door. Let's get some food.
Meanwhile, Dagmar's gone. Dagmar's already heading down that corridor.
Jogging on down.
But we can not sit with the guest if you want, Morton. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. You didn't seem too on your A game in there.
I'm just a little suspicious, as it's not the kind of character I would expect to see in this class of brain carriage, sir.
Well, we all find our way one way or another. Maybe they won a competition, or have a wealthy relative who helped them out.
Or maybe you're correct. No, maybe I do need to be a little bit more trusting in these situations, but it's just a little suspicious in my eyes. So, if you don't mind, I'm happy for us to sit with them if you wish. But at this point, I think I should just carry on being a little suspicious.
Yes, a good way to be. As far as we know, they're a nice little sticky fingers, or found it on the floor. So who knows? Could be anything. But I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt for now.
Okay, I shall try my best. Quentin.
Try to relax.
Okay.
We'll head to the food.
As you make your way 2 carriages down, you do indeed. You can't miss the food car. You can't miss it. The dining car. As you step through the little connecting passage between the carriages, you step into a room that has the sound of clinking glasses and cutlery. The smell of delicious food assaults your senses, and you hear the sort of the quiet and demure hubbub of upper class conversation. Kind of fills the room. There is a rather small, ratty-looking gentleman in a dress suit who looks a little bit uncomfortable in this dress suit, if I'm honest. Sort of little ratty gentleman, looks a little bit like he doesn't belong in a dress suit and has kind of found himself in one and doesn't really know how to behave. But he has the manners and the decorum, at least, to maneuver his way through the post of maitre d', and as you come through the door, he appears, slightly wringing his hands, and you see him talking to Dagmar, and he says, are you dining alone?
So as Dagmar's entered and immediately approached this maitre d', there's been this comedic drop of the volume of the room as all the diners have suddenly seen this individual walk through the door in a kind of many people holding food on utensils and stopping like this. in that moment, as this gentleman asks, "Are you dining alone?" Both Quentin and Morton are now caught up and just behind me, to which I've pulled my ticket out, presented it to the maitre d' to say, of course not, I have my two distinguished friends right here. If there is space for 3 people on one of your fine tables, that would be very much appreciated.
He does the thing of trying to be subtle and failing miserably, of looking around you, Dagmar, at Quentin and Morton with a little... With a sort of expression that is seeking confirmation that what they've just been told is in fact the case.
Morton on.
Not giving you any trouble, are they, Dagmar?
Not at all, they're just doing their job.
Come on, man. Pull yourself together. Find us a table.
Oh, yes, of course, sir, of course. This way. And he kind of goes a little rigid, spins around, and begins making his way through the carriage towards the bar end of the dining car. And there is an empty table that would seat 4 people. He turns and gestures to the table, and then, without really thinking, goes to draw the chair out for Dagmar. So he pulls out the chair and then kind of pauses, as there is then another little moment of doubt of like, does he assist Dagmar in sitting at this seat with a napkin, as he probably would have done for all the other upper class guests in the dining car?
I assume this is quite obvious that he's paused, right?
Yes.
Okay, Quentin will walk forward and just kind of gently maneuver him out of the way and do that job for him. Like, in case you have forgotten how it's done, this is the correct way. I don't want you to get in trouble for not treating the guests correctly.
Oh, yes, of course, sir. My apologies, but please take your seats. Let me fetch you a drinks menu. And he kind of tries to regain some composure as he flutters over to the bar, where you see him kind of rifling through the menus. Clearly he's already got some menus, but he is trying to lengthen this process so he can get his bearing, find his center, work out how to deal with this situation.
My apologies, Dagmar, for
There's no
any
need for
offense.
apologies. Formalities are not a requirement in this situation. Let's just sit and eat. And I'm going to turn to the Major D very quietly and just sort of say, "Sir, may I ask your name?"
It's a real good question. It's a
I
real
know.
good question. He reappears
GM's
at the
crucial
as you
bit.
ask this question. He has reappeared at the table with menus, and he is deftly placing some drinks menus out on the table. And he turns half caught off guard, half a little bit like he'd found his centre, and now that is gone again. And he gets a little bit of composure, and he says, "Of course, you may call me Halfdan."
Well, Halfdan, my apologies that our group and yourself have got off into a slightly confused footing here. There is really no requirement for formalities. We are just here for a nice meal. You are working very, very hard, sir. Thank you for the menus. And if we need anything, I shall let you know.
I hope everyone is ready, because I feel the first roll of Chapter 2 is about to happen. I am going to ask for either a manipulation or an inspiration check. I will leave it to your decision, Dagmar.
Roll of sass.
No modifiers, right?
No modifiers. Yeah! The first roll of Chapter 2, and it's a success. You see Halfdan, the maitre d', kind of breathe out, and he puts a hand on the table and kind of leans on it as he brings himself a little bit closer to the group, and he goes, "Thank you for that." He puts his finger in his collar and kind of tries to get some space. This is my first journey. I'll give you a couple of seconds to look at the drinks menu, and then I'll come back and order some drinks. Let me go and fetch some food menus while you have a look, and I'll be right back. Yeah. Thanks. And then he scuttles off to try and find some menus. The conversation of the carriage closes back in a little bit as people kind of get back on with their meals and their conversations. You hear the whistle of the train, a little bit fainter than before as you are farther away from the engine. As you enter into a tunnel, the darkness kind of falls in on the dining car, but this carriage is much better illuminated with quite attractive lighting in the ceiling as well as the lamps on the side. And so it fills the room with the warm glow of sort of a cozy or a comfortable restaurant. Halfdan, the maitre d', reappears and begins handing some menus out and says, "Drinks. Let's do drinks. What can I get you?"
What would you recommend?
It really depends on your palate and what you would like to drink. Are you on spirits, wine, or Earl?
Well, I wouldn't mind a nice glass of red if got some going.
Absolutely, sir. I can get you a glass of red. Would you like large, and would you like the glass or the bottle?
I feel bottle in case either of these fine gentlemen or yourself would like to share some. My friend is right. We got off on the wrong foot, and if you would like a small token of an apology, help yourself to a little nipper, if you can sneak one without your colleagues ratting you out.
Well, thank you, but that's quite all right. I am working all evening, and I need to be sure-footed. And as he says this, the reason for it becomes quite apparent as you reach quite a bumpy patch in the rail, and there is a little bit of laughter and sort of exclamations in the restaurant as people are a little bit surprised by the little bump and rock of the carriage. People kind of grab hold of their drinks. A few people, kind of miss their mouths, and there is a little bit of laughter and tittering through the carriage. And he says, "Absolutely, red wine for you, kind sir. And what about you two? What can I get you?"
Well, I'm happy with the red, as Quentin has already said. That would do perfectly for me.
And you, my kind friend?
Well, I was considering an evening of maintaining clearest possible head, but with such a kind gesture of a bottle of red, that sounds like something that would go lovely with this meal.
Wonderful. Allow me to go fetch your drinks, please. Peruse the menu. We have... and he takes a little moment and he thinks, and then he goes, "Yes, everything on the menu is available. The soup is a French onion." And then he kind of does a little nod and wanders off to the bar to go and fetch the drinks that you have ordered.
It's making me hungry.
You erupt out of the tunnel, and the dining car is again filled with light. We haven't reached. We are past solstice, but we're still definitely in the time of year where it is almost light 24 hours a day, with only a small patch of darkness now that solstice has gone. And so the sort of strange evening sunlight of the summer fills the carriage, and you hear some exclamations of admiration as you exit the tunnel. As people look out of the windows, and you can see this beautiful fjord from above, as the train slowly descends down out of the mountain tunnel. And you see this beautiful blue glistening fjord kind of weaving its way through the mountains. The menu is well appointed. It is a fairly opulent menu. It is not quite a regal affair, but it is certainly of an upper class status, as has become somewhat fashionable. A lot of international dishes have been incorporated, most notably French and Italian cuisine, and there seems to be a little bit of a habit appearing in the upper class to provide menus in French as well as, in this case, Norwegian. It is a bit of a peculiar menu, however, as it clearly is catering to both tastes, with things like roulade coupled next to Norwegian potato bread and lamb stew and salmon. So this sort of weird combination of traditional Scandinavian dishes with these sort of nouveau French Italian cuisine. Halfdan appears with 3 red wine glasses and a crystal decanter that is filled almost to the brim with a ruby red wine. There is clearly just a little bit more than a single bottle in here, and Halfdan gives Dagmar a little bit of a smile as he puts the carafe down, and it's noticeably more full than it should be. He gets out a little notebook and a pencil and takes your orders before scurrying off to the kitchen.
Can't say I'm not looking forward to that lamb stew. That sounds wonderful.
Did you order the lamb stew? You would be quite surprised that Mawson has gone for a more eclectic list and more of the continental, what would be foreign food, without much hesitation.
Yeah, man of simple tastes.
Dagmar's going to look up and ask the... I've forgotten the name of the entity already, sorry.
Halfdan.
Halfdan, yeah. What would you recommend if you were to order?
That is a good question. I myself prefer a more traditional menu, although I have heard good things about the roulade.
I can't say I've ever tried that myself, so I will try the roulade. But I'd also like the salmon as well.
Of course. Of
Thank
course.
you.
And you see him scribbling down in his notebook, and he disappears into the kitchen.
It's an appetite you have there. Did you skip lunch?
Like I said, when presented with the opportunity of a fine meal, one should always take advantage.
Have you eaten very many fine meals?
I've had my fair share. I've tasted different cuisines from various towns.
You're well travelled then.
I'd like to say I'm experienced.
How old do you look?
I'm in my early 30s.
Okay. So where are you travelling to the end of the night, Doug?
Sorry, repeat that?
Are you travelling to the end of the line?
Yes. My plan, I believe, is to head through to Hidal and then make a decision from there. I've not fully decided yet. I work in a freelance world, therefore I can make decisions as I arrive.
What is your occupation usually? What do you freelance in?
I work in many fields. For the most part, I offer support to local businesses. How about yourselves?
Well, I am Quentin's butler and assistant. I have been working as a butler for a very long time.
Yeah.
So you're
He doesn't
quite
treat you
wonderful.
like a butler.
Well, that is my understanding of what he's hired me for, be his butler and assistant. So this is what I'm here for.
And I mainly do private detective work. I recently completed a job in where we just were, in Bergen, actually.
I'm intrigued. Do tell me more.
Well, there was a simple case, really. A baker's child went missing. Went through the usual suspects of, bitter spouses and stuff like that, and eventually they just turned back up, and it turns out they were out playing this time, and maybe the cavalry was called in a bit quick, but just glad they're found.
What made you decide to be a private detective?
Interesting work. I do hate to be bored, and the day-to-day job changes quite a lot when you're doing detective work.
And are you from Bergen, or are you traveling home on this journey as we speak?
I'm just traveling in search of work. There is work all around, and never hurts to test new markets and see new sights.
Like, as soon as you finish saying that, Dagmar takes the glass of red wine, lifts it while saying, "I will drink to that," and takes a big gulp.
Here. And yeah, Quentin will also take a gulp, and there is a that half a second, that split second of there was a lot of questions from a casual thing, but trying to move past it.
And yeah, while this is going on, I'm listening carefully, but also trying to eye up around the room, see who's sitting at other tables, but trying to listen to this conversation at the same time, and not really drinking red wine at the moment.
Give me a vigilance check.
Oh, a vigilance check.
Yes, a vigilance check.
Just click on it.
Yeah, just click on it. Then going to do a little pop-up and ask you if there's any modifiers. There aren't, so you just click. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
You look around the dining car, Morton. You flick from table to table to table to table. There is only one table in this room that attracts a modicum of your attention. As you spot there is two people sitting at the table, both of them in suits. One of them has dark black hair that is slicked back, and the other is wearing this very kind of short, curly hair look with rouged lips, but an exceptionally well-starched suit. And they attract your attention because you immediately recognize them as political figures for the Norwegian government. Well, the Norwegian devolved government, as Norway is still actually part of the United Kingdom of Sweden and Norway. They catch your eye a little bit, and you kind of rest your attention on them, trying to sort of gain some, people watch.
Okay. I shall keep my attention for most of the evening and try and sort of glean what's going on with them, how their attitude while they're sat at that table.
Okay. The food comes out, not in very promptly, actually. There is all the food is arranged. One of the waitresses is a little bit confused when informed that the salmon and the roulade are both for Dagmar. But she takes it in her stride and puts the plates down in front of you. Another waitress comes with cutlery and shines each piece of the cutlery before placing it down on the table. And there is an array of unusual cutlery provided. Most notably to Dagmar, who gets a knife and a fork, and then a fish knife and a fish fork, and a tiny little knife, that is used for kind of if there are any bones left in the fish, that they can be sort of fished out with this sort of much smaller knife. Dagmar, you are arrayed with this selection of cutlery that is placed in a very particular order about your plates. And as the food arrives, it smells wonderful. And Halfdan appears and says, "Is there anything else I can get for you, friends?"
I believe that is all. Thank you.
If you do need anything else, please don't hesitate. And he wanders off to tend some tables, leaving you with this delightful meal.
Morton's going to watch Dagmar and see what choice she makes. They make. Sorry, to the with the cutlery, just to sort of try and gauge maybe what their background might be.
So Dagmar's going to completely fail in cutlery etiquette and basically go straight for a bog standard fork and begin tearing away at this salmon quite savagely.
I shake my head and go, Dagmar, I believe you need to use this and this. I'm pointing to the correct cutlery, and just take your time. There's no need to tear it apart. So a little bit of dignity in a place like this.
I'll certainly be willing to try, thank you.
I've just had a flashback from that scene in Mulan where the where Mulan goes for her to see if she can be a bride, and the woman goes, sense of dignity, and she just draws a beard on her face with the... I've just been bombarded with this Disney flashback. Dignity.
Dagmar is taking the advice well. Calmly is just transferring to the proposed utensils, but is still eating the salmon with some gusto. However, with a little more dignity. Notably, Dagmar is not touching the roulade.
Yes, and the roulade, it is it's definitely an international cuisine. It does look a little bit like it might be duck, and therefore it is duck that has been hammered out and filled with some sort of delectable filling, and then rolled before being tied with string and pan-seared. I mean, it all is very fancy, and it looks delightful and delicious, and it is delightful and delicious as you tuck in and enjoy the evening's meal. A dessert menu follows the meal, then coffee and liqueurs follow that. The carafe of red wine, I imagine, is consumed in its entirety, and by the end of the meal, we have our three adventurers, our three investigators, have rosy cheeks, satisfied bellies, and have enjoyed, I'm imagining, some interesting conversation. The table is cleared. The bill arrives. I imagine, Quentin, you pay for the bill in its entirety? Bearing in mind it is only drinks.
100%. Quentin offered drinks to people, and Quentin will pay for those drinks. He's not going to be like, I'm going to order this wine for us, by the way, everyone. Pony up. See ya.
Okay.
We'll definitely pay for the wine.
You retire from the dining car after your meal, desserts, coffees, liqueurs, and head back towards the travelling compartment. It is sort of early evening time, so it would not be remiss of upper class gentry to retire to bed, but it is still fairly early, so that is not necessarily the expected activity. So you're kind of in that weird half spot between making up your mind if you're going to turn in early or if you are going to return to your travel compartment. As you kind of go, leaving the dining car to make this decision, the Halfdan appears and says, "Will you be returning to your travel compartment, or will you be heading to the club car? Or, of course, to the sleeping cars if you wish to have an early evening?"
It is certainly too early for myself to sleep. I will either go where these fine gentlemen want to go. If not, I will go back to our carriage and have a read, I think.
I believe, Quentin, I will probably head to the club car right now, just for a little while, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
Would you be joining me?
Sounds lovely. I can always read later.
Dagmar is on board with this idea. Immediately is just kind of intrigued to see the club car. Why not?
Well,
Be a treat for you, I should imagine.
if in that case then, the club car is more towards the centre of the train, and I hope you have a lovely evening. It has been my pleasure to serve you this evening, gentlefolk.
Before you, but can I ask the two people that were at the table together, two politicians?
And he kind of turns and looks into the train, trying to work out what table, and then he's going to turn back.
Wait, did I before as they left, or have they left? Did I notice which way they were heading?
They haven't left. They are still at their table. Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't say anything to him. I'll head to the club.
Okay, cool. You make your way through the train towards the club car. When you arrive at the door, there is a rather large looking gentleman who he has quite a form about him. And he is wearing the train guard uniform. And as you enter into the club car, he kind of intercepts you before you can come in. And he says, "Good evening, gentlefolk. Tickets?"
Oh, of course. I'll check my pocket. Did I hand it to you, Martin? Where is it? He's checking like his 50 million trench coat pockets.
I would imagine that's the sort of thing Morton would have.
Morton's got the tickets. He's the organised one.
And I'll go, I believe, sir, you're looking for these.
Get into his hands.
And pass them over.
And he checks the two tickets and hands them back to you, Morton, and then he looks at you, Dagmar, and you see one of his eyebrows. One goes down and one goes up. Ticket.
So Dagmar knows exactly where their ticket is, pulls that straight out from their back pocket, hands it over, and with a cheeky smile, slightly adjusts their neckerchief.
The train guard looks at the ticket, looks at you, looks at the ticket, looks at Morton and Quentin, looks
And I'll
back
give
at
a
the ticket,
shocked look back at him and shake the head.
looks back at the ticket and returns it to you, Dagmar, and then stands out of the way and motions into the club car. It is exactly what you think it's going to be. There is, at the very far end, a baby grand piano with someone tinkling the ivories to the sort of latest tunes. The club car has an array of comfortable-looking chairs interspersed with small cocktail tables dotted around the very edge of the carriage, leaving the centre of the carriage kind of open, almost as if it could act as a dance floor. And there is a bar. This time, unlike the dining car, the bar is a little bit longer, kind of giving the illusion that it is a full-sized bar, whilst still being quite petite in order to maximise the space in the carriage. And so you've got the tinkling of the ivories, the lovely the songs, and there are a few people sort of dotted around, enjoying various drinks. The other thing that's quite noticeable about this carriage as well, unlike the dining car, this carriage has a slight haze about it. As you notice, there are several people dotted around. There are some women who have the long cigarette holders. There are a few gentlemen smoking cigars, cigarettes, pipes. There is a rather androgynous character wearing an almost entirely white suit, sitting amongst a group of gentlemen, and they are also smoking, except they have got smoking scissors. So it's like a kind of halfway house between a cigarette holder, which seems to be fashionable among upper class women, but it's not holding the cigarette and getting grubby fingers. It is filled with a kind of atmosphere of relaxed enjoyment, alcohol, cigarette smoke, and the music from this sort of baby grand.
Are there anyone playing any form of card or dice games?
Most certainly, yes. There is going to be at least one table with cards, if not maybe a couple. You don't notice dice. It is just cards. Card games are... Card games have a slightly more upper-class feel about them. It tends to be more the peasantry and the working class that play with dice because they can't afford a whole deck of cards.
I definitely know where I shall be heading later, Morton. There seems to be
Good choice, sir. Good choice.
Games. Do you play, Dagmar?
I'm rather fond of a game of cards here or there. If I'm honest with you, I think I'm going to see if I can join this game rather promptly.
Enjoy, and I shall definitely aim to join later. And I'll take one step back because Quentin believes you can learn a lot about how someone plays, cards and stuff, to learn about people. So he's going to be keeping a very keen eye on how people around the table are playing.
You spread out through the club car. Cards, drinking, a little bit of socialising with the other passengers, a little bit of crowd watching, people watching. The evening is one of relaxed entertainment and a slowly escalating level of raucousness, particularly from the card game table, as Dagmar begins to hustle the gentry. Because that is what is happening at the table. You all have a really lovely, relaxed evening. And I quite imagine, as evening turns into night, and the three of you head towards the sleeper cars to turn in for the evening, there is a very small amount of stumbling that isn't necessarily just from the train. You separate yourselves to your various sleeper cars. As night falls, the train arrives in Borgen Station. It is here that it stops. A few people alight, this being their final destination. But as it arrives in the middle of the evening, most passengers and guests are either sleeping or still enjoying what revelries are to offer. The train stops here for the night. The sun barely sets. In fact, it remains almost daylight, with a very small intermission in the very early hours of the morning. Sun rises again, and it is about time for breakfast. There is a little knock on each of the doors, each of the sleeper car doors. The guard doesn't enter, but rather just says in a rather tired voice, breakfast is being served in the dining car. And then you hear another little knock and a muffled voice as this person goes down the sleeper car, notifying all the passengers the breakfast is now available in the dining car.
Quentin will slowly open his eyes and notice that once again he has fallen asleep on top of the sheets, fully clothed, head inside the book, and just
Shame.
dangling half off the bed. I will finish you one day, book, and just shuts it and he goes to the room he knows is Morton's. It's like, coffee time, Morton.
Yes, sir. I'm on it already. I'm up and ready to go.
Inviting you, not asking for it.
That's okay.
So you know,
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I forget. We're not at home. We're not at home right now.
We'll make it for you here. It's wonderful.
Yes, I'm still getting used to that. Shall we be on our way?
Yeah, but hope you're enjoying a vacation from it all.
I'm finding it hard just to switch off, right? Still feel like I'm employed and I should be assisting you all the time. I just need to step back a moment. So I shall try my best to relax.
Your companionship is work enough for now. Not that I hope it's a job to spend this time with me, of course.
Oh no! It doesn't feel like a job at all. It's very easy, and it's good to learn from such a person as yourself. You have a great mind, and I think your skills at detecting are just amazing. So I'm hoping to learn from you. I can always learn, at whatever age.
Well, I'm happy to pass on all I know.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's actually for Dagmar. Dagmar,
Yes.
are you in some sort of hibernation in the sleeper car, bundled up in every one of these fabulous, like, feather pillows and blankets and enjoying every single second of this, like, luxury? Or are you already at the dining car for breakfast?
Oh, mate, there was a knock at the door. Words were said. Dagmar did not hear a thing.
Perfect. Okay, so in that case then, Quentin and Morton, you arrive at the dining car where there is a rather stout looking gentleman acting as maitre d' for breakfast. And as you enter into the room, he goes, "Ah, gentlemen, breakfast."
Ah, good morning. Yes, thank you. Would you mind showing us to our table?
Which one would you like to sit at? Left side or right? I know some people are particular about which side the lamp is on.
Whichever has the best view for me.
I would agree. What is the best view? I'll look for the best view of the room.
Well,
But
if you want to look at the station, sit on the left. If you want to see the countryside, however, I advise the right.
I'll motion to the left for Quentin. Shall we sit on the left side?
Okay, if you would like. You a fan of train stations?
Or rather a fan of what might be going on them.
Ah, yes, people watching that could be more enjoyable.
An excellent choice, of course. Is it just you two, or are you expecting more guests to join later?
I assume it's just us two. I assume our friend.
I don't believe there was anybody else.
He spins around to lead you to a table, and then spins all the way around. So he turns his half turn into a 360 and says, "You don't mind sitting at a 4-seater, do you? Doesn't look like we've got any just twos on the left."
I mean, a seat's a seat in my eyes.
Marvellous, this way then. And he's off. He motions to one of the tables. It is almost diagonally from where you were the night before. So on the night before you were on the right hand side by the bar. This time you were on the left hand side and much closer away from the kitchen. Out the window you can indeed see the platform. It is it's not super early. You can see there's a couple of people on the platform, and all of them look like train guards. There doesn't seem to be... There isn't any public on the platform, just the train guards. Which isn't unusual, I guess. It's still early in the morning, so they're probably not boarding on new passengers. That's the logic. Whether that is the case or not, that remains to be seen.
What sort of time in the morning are we talking here? When we said it might be early, are we talking 6:30 in the morning? Is it 8 o'clock?
We are probably more in the land of 7 or 8. That's early. The train isn't due to depart until about 9 o'clock. But it's quite a slow... This is... I mean, it's like a hotel. People were up drinking and feasting and having fun, so it's a little slower start early in the morning.
Have the two political people appeared yet for breakfast?
No, they have not. They are not in the dining car. There is... there looks to be a very well-off family sitting in one corner. There are two men in suits who are quite animatedly talking business. And interestingly, you see another gentleman who is in a military uniform. He is wearing the uniform for the United Kingdom of Norway and Sweden. So he's wearing this sort of strange hybrid uniform that was created when the United Kingdom was formed. You can tell by the stripes on his shoulders that he is an officer. Everyone is seemingly tucking into breakfast, and before long this very gregarious stout man appears and says, "Are we doing coffee?"
Definitely. As much as you can bring.
Strong and black, you seem the kind that likes to get their motor going in the morning.
Definitely seems like you've got yours going already, sir.
Ooh la la.
Have you been on the coffee this morning?
Of course, only the finest coffee aboard our train today.
Well,
But me, sir, I am filled with the joy to serve you breakfast this morning.
Why, thank you.
I'm literally bringing you my fancy Butlins red coat. Think red coat, but fancy.
What is on the menu this morning?
Ah! Menus, of course. Let me get you some coffee, and I will bring those right over for you. And he wanders off to go and get coffee.
While it's gone, so Quentin, do you think we should maybe try and wake our newest travelling companion? Much as I'm still not sure about them. I believe we kind of formed some kind of bond last night and yesterday. It might be worth checking, making sure they're okay or they want to come to breakfast. I would hate for them to miss the food, as they definitely seem to enjoy their food last night.
Yes, I would say either that, or if we order something for them we think they'd like, that and let them sleep in. I don't know which is the more socially acceptable option here.
Ah, here's your coffee! This just sort of eruption from the stout figure as he clanks down a cafetiere and some cups. There's a little bowl with some sugar in it. There is a little milk jug. And then he turns and says, "Here are the menus. It's a pretty good selection for breakfast, but we have something rather exciting that isn't on the menu. We are very lucky this morning because we are stopped in Borgen that we have some fresh lefse being provided by the village bakery. So if you would like lefse, we can do that, either sweet or savoury, although I must advise the sweet. Just so you know, guys, lefse is a traditional soft Norwegian flatbread that's kind of looks like a crepe, but they're a little... they're made out of potato instead of flour, so it's a bit like a crepe but made out of potato. When he says sweet, they're actually very traditionally served. They cook them, let them cool a little bit, spread them with butter, cover them with sugar, and then fold them, so you almost get like a kind of sugar sandwich in one. But they can be served savoury as well, although pretty much everyone is going to go for them sweet.
Why wouldn't you?
Why
Could
would
we
you?
get 3 orders of the sweet so our friend has something when they wake up? Try
Absolutely.
and knock.
Good choice.
And if you'd be so kind, if you do have some bread and some bacon, if you could just slap that together, that would be a wonderful side dish.
Of course. And for yourself, anything other than the lefse?
I believe that the lefse would be fine for me. Thank you.
Marvellous. If you need anything else, give me a shout. and he wanders off. I am leaving your fabulous entry to you, Dagmar. You may appear whenever you so wish.
Okay, so before I start, may I just say I always prefer that my breakfast sandwiches are slapped together.
Only way to make one.
So I guess at this point Dagmar has started to stir. Maybe you can smell the breakfast that's being cooked in the other carts. It's wafting down the corridors. There's this sort of deep smell of coffee and savoury pastries in the air, and it's just anyone who's been slightly enamoured the night before, it's going to stir them. So Dagmar's sort of slowly waking up, not really sure what's going on, but is not discomforted by this at all, and generally starts to make their way towards the direction of the smell, which appears to be coming from the dining car from the night before. So this seems like a safe journey.
Just follow your nose.
Exactly. I think upon reaching the dining car, or the breakfast bar as it is now.
Breakfast bar now.
Opens the door somewhat loudly and
there
forcefully.
is an eruption from the rather stout gentleman who is turned the other way and is like tidying up some menus and sorting some things out. He spins round, massive smile on his face. Good morning! Can I help you?
Dagmar's initial reaction is one like this. Oh. And then it's followed with, I believe there is breakfast. I also suspect that some acquaintances I got to know yesterday may already be here.
Excellent! Who might they be? And he's going to turn and look in sort of motion to the dining car.
So, I mean, obviously I'm going to just scan the room, looking for both Morton and Quentin. While I'm scanning the room, is there anything I notice about the other people that are here?
So, there is a family down on the right. There is some businessmen talking quite loudly about stocks. There is a military, there is an army man sitting on his own. He's just sort of staring out of the window, casually sipping from his coffee. Then there is a slightly friendly smiley face. That's how I imagine Quentin to look. Slightly friendly smiley face, who's doing that really awkward thing of when you're in a restaurant and you see your friend at the door and you're trying to catch their attention. That
he's definitely talking, and he's like, well, Morton, I believe that answers the question of who needs to go get our compatriot from last night, and the answer is neither of us.
Nice.
So, also, my other question of the people in this room, is there any one of these people who are currently having breakfast who I hustled at the card table last night?
Oh, good question. Oh, do you know what? Let's leave this to fate, shall we? Odds, the answer is no. Evens, the answer is yes. It's odds, no.
Okay.
Yet no one from the hustle table is here.
So I'm immediately going to turn to this new, annoyingly overly enthusiastic maitre d', who's way too chipper for this time of the morning. Point to both Quentin and Morton where they're sat, clearly enjoying the view of a platform on a train station, and states, I believe those are the fine gentlemen I am looking for. May I please see a menu? I can make my own way to the table.
Oh, wonderful! Here! And he hands you a menu, and he's like, would you like coffee? You look like you could do with coffee.
Absolutely. Bring me a very large coffee.
Certainly. And then he spins around and bombastically goes to prepare your coffee for you.
Okay, so Dagmar just makes a beeline for this table. There's no gentleness about this. There is speed, there is efficiency, and sits immediately down next to
Plonks themselves.
Quentin. Yep, plonks themselves down with a oof sound, and immediately looks at both these fine gentlemen who are being quite civilized. With a shrug, Dagmar simply just goes, "Good morning."
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
I slept incredibly well. Thank you. How about you two?
Very good, thank you.
Coffee! Comes this... the voice. Just the voice. And this gentleman appears, puts down another large cafetiere, clanks some cups down, sugar, a little bit more milk. And just as this happens, a rather petite lady, waitress, appears next to him and says, "I've got the bacon sandwich."
Oh, that will be me.
Ah, super. And she puts down. And then there's 3 rounds of fresh sweet lefse from the village. Is that correct?
Please, yes. One for me, please.
And she turns, and you can see there's another waitress with a tray, and she starts dishing out these plates of this beautiful, warm, fresh lefse, and the smell of them rises up, and it literally smells like breakfast. Like, I kind of imagine everyone kind of has that association. And I'm sorry to everyone in Norway if that's not when you eat them. I did eat them in the morning, and they're great with coffee. So there you go.
I will definitely first demolish the bacon sandwich before a bit more dignified in my eating this fine pastry dish.
Just say to Dagmar, we took the liberty of ordering you some food. We expected you to turn up at some point, just in case we missed any food.
Well, what can I say? That is a very kind thought. Thank you. These do smell terrific.
Do you have everything you need?
I think Dagmar's going to take one look at this. Dagmar's going to take one look at this bacon sandwich that has been slapped together and just state, actually, that looks very good as well. Can I please have one of those? I'll have a sausage, and if possible, I'd like a small glass of dark ale.
Yeah.
Of course! And off he trots to put the order into the kitchen. As you sit and enjoy your breakfast, I'm going to ask someone to give us a vigilance check for the group.
To be fair, I feel we sat at the window because Morton wanted to watch people the most.
I mean,
So
I would... Yeah, the plan was I would be, most of the time, Morton looking around people and seeing what's going on. So
all right, give us the vigilance check.
That's with no modifier.
No mods.
Yeah. So hit that. No.
Ooh.
I did.
Morton, your attention keeps flicking to the soldier in the train, who, from your angle, you can see that he's sitting sipping this cup of coffee, and he has a letter that is just sort of resting on, well, it looks less like a letter and more like a telegram, and it's resting on the table next to him. And that's kind of drawn your attention. With Quentin tucking into a bacon sandwich and Dagmar reviving themselves with coffee and Lefser, you miss the commotion that seems to spill onto the platform of the train. That commotion continues its journey and spills on to the train. The door to the dining car opens quite sharply, and 2 police officers and a train guard enter into the carriage. One of the police says, "Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry to inform you there has been an incident in the village overnight. The train is therefore grounded until further notice. I repeat, the train will not continue its journey while we do our investigation. Please make sure you listen to the instructions of your train guards. You are all perfectly safe. We just need to carry out an investigation." And they turn and leave, leaving the train guard to deal with whatever questions erupt from the dining car.
Yeah, my interest will definitely be piqued now. I will head forward when it calms down a little to ask.
You hear like a kind of a little eruption of questions, mostly from the family, who are asking, what has happened? When is the train going to go? Why, this is such a great delay. And the answers to these questions: there's been an incident in the village, and the police have stopped the train from continuing so that they can ensure they do a thorough investigation and talk to any suspects. The train guard doesn't know when the train will continue its journey.
Does it look like the police are still on the platform?
Yeah, when you look outside, you can see that there are lots of train guards and station staff and police kind of huddled together, and you can see one policeman looks like they're giving instructions to everybody. In the time it takes for the questions to sort of die down in the room, the group of people on the platform breaks up, and you can see all the train guards spread out through the train, and a few policemen head towards the train as well, while others go off of the platform into the village.
I will try and find one of the officers and sort of approach and make myself known. Quentin Ludensberg, you may have heard of me, private detective. Is there anything I can do to help?
I'm ever so sorry. I don't mean this to sound rude, but please point your questions in the direction of any of the train I'm sorry. Did you say Ludensberg? As in the Ludensberg, the famous detective?
Well, wouldn't go so far as famous, but yes, maybe you could go that far.
You solved the mysterious disappearances in Stavanger. The crime that was open for nearly a decade, and you solved it.
Well,
That's you, isn't it?
You could say that, yes.
It is a pleasure to meet you, sir. It is a pleasure to meet such a skilled detective. Yes, absolutely. I'm sure we could use your assistance in our investigation. You wait here, and I will go and get the captain, and bring her to speak with you. It is an absolute pleasure. I will go and get the captain. And the police kind of, he does that thing where he turns, and then he turns back, and he's like, it's a and then he kind of turns. almost fangirling you just a little bit before they leave the dining car. The dining car now is pretty much just you guys, the soldier, and the train guard. As other people have kind of disappeared to go and like check on their belongings and you know, that sort of thing. When people hear that there might have been a crime, people, you know, like to go and make sure that everything they have is safe and that they are safe and all those sort of things. And it kind of leaves the I kind of imagine there was a little moment for Dagmar of shit, they found me. And then when it wasn't that, it was returning to eat. Just eating coffee.
There was a moment where the chewing stopped. But Dagmar is notoriously good at remaining quite cold in their face. But internally, Dagmar was having a brief panic of trying to find exits that were not there.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, you said that the only people left in the dining car were us, a train guard, and the military guy?
Yeah, the family, after quizzing the train guard about what had happened, bustled out with like murmurings of disgruntlement at being delayed. The two businessmen, hearing that there had been a crime, promptly headed out of the dining car, and you could hear both of them talking about returning to their rooms and checking their belongings.
You said the military guy was kind of distracted by a telegram.
Yeah, he's not reading the telegram. He's just sitting, looking out of the window, drinking the coffee. He pays a vague amount of attention, and then when it kind of comes out that the train is delayed and you just need to stay aboard and wait for instructions, he just kind of turns back quite calmly and just carries on looking out of the window and enjoying his coffee. The telegram is on the desk. You kind of feel like maybe he read it before you arrived and now is kind of sitting contemplating its contents. The train guard comes to your table while you wait for the captain of the police to arrive and just says, please carry on with your breakfast. Carry on as usual. As soon as we have any information, I guarantee that we will keep you up to date, and we will get ourselves underway to finish our journey to Hedal as soon as possible. And the train guard then moves to the military man to say the same thing before heading to the other end of the dining car and through the door, which you know to be the kitchen.
Quentin will quickly inhale the rest of his food so that he can look presentable when the police captain arrives. Looks at Morton. Looks like you may have got us some work. Should keep the morning interesting at least. Break up the journey a bit.
Oh, that would be excellent. I get to see you work some more. So, and then help you out.
You were a lot of help in the last case, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you. It's always good to have a second pair of eyes.
Always. Yeah, just quickly, try and savor and inhale this meal at the same time.
Gosh, this is tasty. The door opens, and a woman enters the carriage. She is presented. She is the definition of immaculate when it comes to presentation. Her blonde hair is braided to within an inch of its life and is pinned up in a display piece of a bun. She is wearing a police uniform. She is wearing a small amount of makeup, It is enough to define all of her features and make her look even more stern than her face already is, but it is also discreet enough that it is very tasteful. You see the policeman from before kind of peek over her shoulder and point in your direction. And you hear her clack, clack, clack walk as she... With each step, you hear the tolling of authority. That is the sound her heels make as she walks on the wooden floor of the dining car. It's authority. And she stands, not quite to attention, but not quite to ease, at the end of your table. And she says, Quentin Ludensberg?
Yes. And who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
It is a pleasure indeed. I'm Ranhilde. I am the captain of the police here in Borgund.
Right. Pleasure to meet you, Ranhilde. How can I be of service if you do need the help, of course?
I don't mean to put it bluntly, but I'm going to, as I don't have much time. We don't really need your help at all. We are more than capable of investigating this crime. However, I am not above letting my pride get in the way of an investigation, and if you can provide assistance and an extra pair of eyes, I would be more than willing to ask for your assistance, mostly so that we can get the train underway as quickly as possible.
Of course.
It would be remiss of me to speak so openly in the dining car of this train. Would you be so kind as to come and join me on the platform? We will borrow a waiting room, and I will give you the details of the case.
Of course. Do you require just me, or is it okay if the companions come with me?
She looks at the table, looks at Morton, looks at Dagmar, frowns at Dagmar, looks back at Morton, and then looks at you, Quentin, and says, if you trust your companions, and they are required for you to work, then I guess they can come along as well.
Well, Morton here has already proven themselves, and I get a good feeling that Dagmar will be able to provide some assistance as well. As you said, an extra pair of eyes is useful, so why not 3 extra pairs?
Excellent. Well, let's not dalliance any further with manners. Let us away. And she turns with a clack as she kind of goes to stand to attention, and then you hear the tolling of authority as she makes her way towards... you know that you're going to have to go out of the dining car and then into one of the passenger carriages beyond to alight, as the only doors out of the dining car are emergency ones. And so they don't have like a little step down. When she reaches the door, she turns with another clack of her heels, and she says, "Are you coming then?"
Of course. And as she steps, I'll sort of go to step up, and I will sort of whisper quietly enough that she won't hear and be like, I have met officers of her sort. I think this has to be completely by the book. Not that I, of course, do it any other way, but we shall have to be careful with this one. To be very, very proper. Leave no stone unturned, and not to piss her off. Don't think it'll be worth it.
I think we can work with that.
As Dagmar wipes the crumbs of food away, having just been sat silently eating and listening to this unfold, turns to Quentin just to say, I very much appreciate you vouching for me. As it stands, I'm currently going to have to wait here until the train is ready to move. Now, your industry, in terms of investigation, is not something I'm familiar with. However, I know a lot more about, let's say, the common folk. So if I can help you, I would be happy to.
I did hope that would be the case, and I do apologise for not asking you first, but I didn't want you bored, and I feel you could be very, very useful.
I'm all out of coffee, and I need something to do.
That, I feel, is like the hashtag to my life.
Yeah. I'll definitely head after her before she gets real mad. Well, even more angry than she already is.
It would be bad to go on the wrong side of her.
Yes, let us move quickly. Do that awkward half walk, half run kind of.
She moves with authority and precision. This is the sort of woman who everything is thought through. Every action, every step, every gesture has intention behind it and is thought through. She leads you off of the train and onto the platform, her heels tolling authority as she walks across the platform towards the waiting room. One of the other police officers opens the door for her and holds it so that you can all enter into the room beyond, which is no longer a waiting room. It has been converted into a sort of... it's being converted into sort of like an investigation room, headquarters, office, questioning room. They've obviously decided that it's a useful room on neutral territory. They will convert it into a police office so that they can deal with the train from here. She turns heel to... Sorry, I'm just sneezing and I'm just like, it's happening over stream, so there you go. She turns on her heel and looks at all of you and waits for the door to close. And the moment the door closes, she says, "To business then. We have had a crime occur overnight. A murder, in fact. A member of the village has been killed. This morning they were found dead in their home. As you can imagine, we have had to halt the train in case our perpetrator is a passenger. We cannot allow them to escape so easily by allowing the train to leave and continue its journey. Until we have the perpetrator, or we are assured that no one aboard the train is guilty, then the train will have to stay here. Questions?"
What is known of the villager? Do they popular? Were they well known to frequent the wrong side of town, as it's often stated?
The victim's name is Benedicta. She has lived in the village many years now. She settled down here after a long and successful career.
In her later years, then?
Yes.
And we're definite it's a murder and not just old age.
This is what makes the case slightly challenging. For all intents and purposes, it looks like Benedicta has passed away from natural causes. However, the door to her home not the front door, mind you, the back door, had been forced open. That is seemingly suspicious, and therefore we are calling it a murder until we find evidence otherwise. Better to investigate the most serious crime and devolve it as more evidence appears, than to investigate inappropriately and regret it later when the case is cold.
Yes, acting quickly in cases like this does tend to increase the odds somewhat.
And with that, acting quickly, this is what we should do. So, I propose You go and see the crime scene for yourself. It would also be very helpful if you would question the villagers. You are an independent. That is an excellent use of your time. We will question the members of the train and the passengers. If we have any that we think are particularly suspicious, we will segregate them and allow you time to question them as well. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Excellent.
Are there any people that are already suspects within the village that you can think of that would be worth checking out? Any exes? Any estranged family or people with grudges?
You must understand. Borgund is a nice village. We have the usual village life that occurs here. As you can imagine, we have had our share of scandal. However, we have never had anything as serious as murder. If you're looking for a good direction, there are only two outside factors in the village currently. The first is the train, and we will investigate that on your behalf. The second is the Hexajäger, called in by the miller. Just so you know, guys, Hexajäger, it means witch hunter.
Oh.
And they are not unusual. In a world of religious friction and the supernatural, the church have provided religious individuals who are versed in the supernatural, who travel the local countryside fixing problems. Now, there is a very mixed opinion countrywide on the Hexajäger. Number one, the term Hexajäger is like an old medieval word for like Inquisition people who used to travel the countryside looking for witches. That term has kind of been applied to them as a slang term, and it has stuck, and they have kind of accepted that term. Some people find that a little bit ominous. Some people think it's all hokery and quackery and nonsense and a form of propaganda. And other people are very grateful that the church is providing this service because the devil walks the land. So there is a real mixed opinion on the Hexajäger. And that opinion seems to swing and sway depending on if you are in an old religion area of Norway or if you are in a Christian part of Norway. Borgund has one of the largest stave churches, so that pretty much is a bit of a statement on which way it's going to swing in this village. So that gives you a quick background of what all of you would understand when Reinhilda says the word Hexajäger.
So, certainly worth checking. Our sweet old woman was indeed a sweet old woman. If
I'm sorry, I don't understand. What a very peculiar question.
No, more of a statement than a question. The baker called in the Hexajäger for a reason, and it'd be worth knowing.
The miller.
Oh, of course. Sorry.
I did exactly that. I put baker and miller down because I couldn't.
I can't read my own writing. Yes, it's worth.
I believe that does mean warrant some investigation. Maybe the crime scene might offer some more information to help us decide what route to take.
Yes, well, I can get an officer to act as your guide through the village, or alternatively, lead you to the crime scene and then let you go about your own business. The choice is completely up to yours. For your information, the miller. We have a large and very well-renowned wool mill here in Borgund, and it is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Kirkeby. It is them that have called in the Hexerjäger. Something about concerns that their youngest daughter is a changeling.
I see.
Yes, well, that is well outside my area of jurisdiction. Now, do you require a guide, or would you like someone to take you to the crime scene and then leave you to your own devices?
I would propose we do this independently. I'm not sure if you two agree.
Well, you did
I
say
would.
that you didn't want any bias from the force, so maybe it is good that we are seen as truly independent.
And if we decide that we need any extra help or any guidance that we're not sure where we need to go, we can always come and find an officer to help us.
Absolutely. And I like this idea. It means that I don't have to expend an officer to go on tour duty. Do you have any more questions? As you can imagine, speed is of the essence.
Not for now, but you have been very helpful, thank you.
Excellent. I will allow you to show yourselves out.
Thank you very much.
I will be stationed here if you require any further assistance. Oh, and before you leave, please don't add to my list of problems today. If you do, I will be extremely peeved.
I don't often go out of my way to make the life of the forces any harder, so I will endeavour to not do so today.
Much appreciated. As
you said.
As you step back onto the platform, the door to the waiting room closes behind you. And you stand here on the cusp of your next case. And it is here that we will take our break. I feel like this is a good spot to take our break. We're going to take a 15-minute break so we can run away and roll some hit dice, take a short rest, get some provisions, and make sure that we are ready to rumble when we pick up our story. So in 15 minutes' time, about 10:15, is that all right for cast?
Yeah, sure.
Smiley faces and nodding. All right, in that case then, we will see you after the break. Hello, hello, and welcome back to the stream. We have just come back from our short rest where we rolled some hit dice and topped up on our consumables. So, let's just take a moment. We will rejoin our cast and begin the investigation in Borgund. Right, here we go. Let's see if this is all going to work. Are you all in the right place? Yes, you
we are.
are. Perfect.
I rolled all nat ones on my hit die.
Nice.
Definitely like that. So, I haven't had to roll yet. I can't wait to fail spectacularly. And then only succeed when it doesn't matter.
Alright. So, yeah, I know, right? We have a
Nice.
map. So, here is the map of the... Here is a map of the town. Hopefully you can all see. The token represents the group, the party, the team, the bidbods. You guys. And you are at the train station. Because you didn't want a guide, I haven't labelled anything.
I thought he was taking us to the house at least.
Yeah.
No,
Are you not doing
you
that?
said you didn't want a guide. No guide. Hashtag consequences.
And I poked my head back in the room and be like, which house was it? Shouldn't I,
I'm sorry.
She did, to be fair, she did say, I can take it to the medicine and leave you to it, or I can arrange for you to have an officer work with you while you investigate the village.
My investigation skills have told me that I should ask for directions at least.
All right. I mean, there's several police on the platform.
Oh yeah, no. Oh no, I don't want to ask her.
Oh, I was going to just clarify. Are you
Not a little
disturbing?
Oh, fuck.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, are you disturbing Ranhilda?
I don't want combat this early. Hits me square in the jaw for wasting her time. Yeah, we'll ask her, yeah.
I feel like this is the sort of lady that would just shoot you and be done with it.
We'll ask a lower level officer.
Okay, that's tickled me quite a bit actually. Right, let me. I'm gonna put it. Let's see what it looks like in white. Benedicta's house. Right, that don't look too bad in white. All right.
It's close.
Right, is all of that in the no. Oh no, that's way too far out. Aha! Bit more. Okay, so Benedict's house is this round one on the map. So they give you directions. The police officer on the platform gives you directions to follow the road until the corner. Turn left, follow it into the village, and you will find a roundhouse. And there will be police standing outside the house, and that is Benedicta's house.
Thank you. Well, no time like the present. I feel it's best that we check the house first, and then we can use any information we find there to help with the questioning, I feel.
I should imagine that the house will develop some kind of lead. Yes.
Buildings rarely lie. People often do.
That is an unfortunate thing in this world.
But unfortunately necessary as well.
Yes. It can be.
Oh, who is going to be the token mover?
Oh yeah, who's designated token mover? You should all be able to move the token, but
There you go. I've moved it now. I've kind of done it now.
All right.
Morton is doing his
Morton the servant.
Role. I'm
Serve
assistant.
us.
I'm serving. It's like,
Me, Morton.
Okay, so as you walk down the street, you begin to be able to see the village of Borgum. The first building that you come upon is a hotel. It's not grand or giant by any means, but it looks clean and comfortable, and you can already see that there is a small queue of people appearing at the hotel, as it would seem that a number of train passengers have decided to stay in a hotel for the evening. Probably those passengers who are not in a sleeper car, but are either hoping to get on the train to continue their journey, or were supposed to go by carriage this morning or something like that, meaning they don't have a place to stay. There is a small queue of them outside, and you can hear there's a lot of disgruntlement as people are kind of unhappy with the situation that has unfolded. Borgund itself, you can now start seeing the village, is dominated by the stave church that is in the village.
So these are graves.
Yes, so there's lots of little graves in the graveyard around the stave church. Now, I am very quickly...
Little sheep to start with.
Yeah, little sheep. That's true, that's cute. I'm very, very quickly going to... I'm very aware of the travesty that I have committed everybody who is from Norway or is Norwegian in any way, shape or form. I'm very aware of the travesty I have committed. I promise I will write a letter of apology to your embassy. There were not enough map tokens to truly create the beauty of the Borgund Stave Church. So I just didn't even try. I am sorry that I have mutilated a national treasure of yours. Please forgive me.
By turning it into a large garden shed with a tower.
Yes!
And sheep outside.
For anyone who is watching the stream, whether you are on Twitch or YouTube, hit up Google, go and look at the Borgund, so B-O-R-G-A-N-D, Borgund Stave Church. Absolutely beautiful. National treasure from Norway. It is breathtakingly beautiful. Mine is not. Imagination.
It wasn't constructed as beautifully as in real life.
Borgund itself is dominated by the Stave Church, and then there's lots of smaller buildings all around it. Some of them are the old, turf roof buildings, like the old style turf roof Norwegian buildings. Some of them have got slates and shingles as roofs. So there's that real sort of combination between the kind of new modern way of building and the old traditional wooden style with turf roof. But everything looks comfortable, clean, tidy, with well-tended gardens, well-looked-after streets. It is idyllic. That is the only way to describe it. It is idyllic.
I suggest that we approach the building from the back. Maybe try and get into the mindset of this possible murderer. It awaits to be seen whether or not this is the case. So I would like to see the grounds near the door before too many people have traipsed all over it.
Yes, that seems like a plan. Maybe we could investigate round the sides of the building on our way round the back. We can have a look in, see if there's anything other interesting that could allude to anything. Wait.
I'm impressed. This line of work suits you, it seems.
Well, thank you. It's I see it's much like serving. It's just the logical fashion. The other houses that are along this, are they just houses?
Yes, yeah, there is a little
Yeah.
ring of houses. There are 2 very small houses, and then 2... yeah, there are 2 small houses that look almost like cabin or hütte rather than houses, but they're just a little bit bigger. So, but they have like brightly coloured flowers in their window boxes, and they're made out of this like sort of really dark wood. Then there are 2 larger houses on this street as well, and then there's Benedicta's very strange round house.
Does it stand out as being different? It obviously is rounded. Does it
Yeah.
look like it is a different house?
Yeah,
Definitely
it
made
looks
different,
really
definitely.
different to every other building that you can see from where you're standing. Like, it does stick out a little bit as being odd in that it is round.
Do any of the surrounding buildings have what appear to be windows or anything that looks over?
Yes, absolutely. There are plenty of windows that look out onto the street. Not so much windows that look out onto the sides, but there are lots of windows that look out onto the street, so it stands to reason there could be several witnesses in these houses, or at least there may have been people who looked at Benedicta's house in the evening. Or even, you may be able to get, when did you last see Benedicta, and try and work out that window.
You would assume down by the river, that sort of big building, does that sort of loom above the others? Is that the...
Yeah, there is a
wall?
much
No.
bigger building in the town. That's this one here for everyone on the stream. There is a much bigger building down here. It isn't necessarily taller, it's just much bigger. And it has a gigantic water wheel out of the back of it that straddles into the river. That looks like the mill. It's the largest building. It looks much newer than everything else, and it does look a little bit more industrious. It's definitely not a house, and there's a massive water wheel.
Looking at the construction of the houses and Benedicta's house, do we have a feel of like age or like an era? Is there a type of house that we would expect to be built at a certain time that looks like this structure?
That's a good question, and it's difficult to answer because these houses have been made in the traditional style.
Even the round one, it's just that it's round, not square.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
But do we feel any significance in the fact that it's round? Like, as in, is that a...
It's odd. It is unusual.
We just see it as a...
Yeah, it is unusual to have a round house.
Well, no time like the present, and shall we have a look?
Why don't you nip round the back? I'm going to pass through the front of the house and loop round the other side, and I'll meet you and see what I can see.
Okay. One goes round the north side and one of us go round the south side. We can investigate either side, and Dagmar through the middle. We've covered a lot of the bases on one sweep.
Yeah, I will go to the north and look for any tracks. Has it rained recently, by the way, GM? I'm not asking Morton.
No, it has not rained recently.
Shame. I will look for any depressed grass. Not sad grass, but recently walked over.
Okay.
Oof.
Give me just a second, and I will... token you up. Who's that this morning?
Whoops.
Alright, there you go. Here are your tokens.
Ooh. exciting.
Cool.
Okay. So this is the road that you are standing on. So this is the road.
And that's to the south.
Yeah. So this is the house. This is the front door just here.
Oh, okay.
So the back door stands to be round the back.
So is this the south side here, based on where the direction we were coming in from? So,
I think so.
That's the south
Yeah,
side.
I've done a
where
very
yours is.
traditional D&D thing, and when we've zoomed in on the smaller map, I have turned it at a different angle just to confuse everyone.
Just to make everybody.
Agmar is flipped upside down.
Okay.
Agmar is walking on their hands.
That is from Alien. We played a truly epic Alien RPG, and I set the tokens up so that they had head torches, which meant you had to turn your token so you could see behind you. It was awful.
Oh my god.
It was so stressful.
I still lose sleep now.
I'm sure this will delight and terrify us as well, equally.
When you arrived at the house, there would have been a policeman who was standing on guard. He is expecting you, so a runner has gone ahead to say that he is expecting you, and he has kind of stepped away from the house to give you free rein. So he's standing kind of in the road. He's just giving you all the space you need to investigate the house, but he is right there. So there is a policeman there. There's a constable there if you have questions or you want to talk to one of the law enforcement.
Before I walk around, I'll ask if have you seen any suspicious sorts since, or anything of note that you have seen just standing here that you would like to point out before we begin?
No, I haven't seen much, if I'm honest with you. I've just been standing here twiddling my thumbs.
Noted. I will begin my slow pass around the north side.
So as Dagmar stood at the front door and just inspecting it from the outside, is there anything notable in markings or signage on this front door?
Give me an investigation check. Is it investigation? Sometimes I find myself saying things with a lot of confidence, and then I'm like, Is there an
investigation?
Yeah!
We have a success.
Woohoo!
Very
Okay,
good.
nice.
A
So
lot of these.
you look around the door. There's no number, there's no house name, there's nothing like that, there's no signage at all. What there is, and it catches your eye and it catches your attention, above the door there is a cast iron troll cross. And it's been made out of iron. A nail has been hammered into the wall of the house, and it has just been hooked onto the nail above the house, above the front door. And it is about, it's about kind of yay big. That is the most amazing thing I think I've done all evening. Yay big. For everyone, who's watching on stream or on YouTube, my fabulous cast can't actually see me in Discord because my camera's going straight to OBS. So I'm giving them hand signals, and they might not be able to see me.
I'd have a good impression of what yay is, though, so it's all right. I know how big it is.
It is about, 6 inches high, so.
Okay, would Dagmar know what this is?
Yeah, you would. It is an old. It's an old kind of old wives' tale, kind of legend, fairy tale kind of thing, and that a lot of people in the old religion still use. It is a symbol that wards away evil, defends you from trolls, and stops people talking shit behind your back.
Yeah, I need one of them.
But you would see them. They're not uncommon, but they're not super common.
Okay. And it's in perfectly good order. It's not damaged. It's moved.
Perfectly good order.
Okay. And there's nothing else I see apart from...
No.
Okay. In which case I'm going to try and open the door.
All right. There you go. The door opens because I mean it's not locked. It's part of the crime scene. There is a guard, and it opens into a small rectangular room with a nice little carpet in the middle. We don't want those. We don't need them. There's a nice little carpeted like a rug in the middle. There is a little chest of drawers, and there is a coat rack hat stand. That's this little sort of spidery thing here. It's actually a hat stand. And then there is another door opposite, so just here.
Okay.
People going around the outside of the house. What are you looking for?
I will look a lot because I'm on ground for, as I said, any sort of like what looks like footprints or anything that are going around towards the back of the house. I know it's not rained, but if there is anything that looks like disturbed or anything like that, so if there was any plants that look a bit more crushed or anything like that, and just any marks of people that have passed this way.
Absolutely.
Similar, and I would be looking for anything in bushes, under bushes, whether there's any objects or anything been discarded on the way through, or...
Okay.
Just...
both give me investigation checks, and then we'll have one all round.
My first roll.
Ooh.
Are you ready for this shit?
You got this.
0 more.
We believe in you.
Are you kidding me?
Sorry, Quentin, I stole your successes.
10 dice. 10.
Okay, Quentin, as you imagine, you don't see... There's no clues here at all. It's just grass, really.
Quentin's eyes, that means there was never clues there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just nothing to find.
Morton, you have 3 successes, so one of your successes counts as a success. You have 2 extras. If you pop open you should find there's a help sheet called The Skills.
Yeah.
In there...
So is it logic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's investigation. So it says here, if you roll more successes than required, the game master decides whether you find more clues, understand the context, or simply enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done. Cool. That's useful. It means I know what to give you. Okay, so Quentin, you investigate and you don't find anything. Morton, you definitely find something. You find tracks that have been left. So someone came round this house on the side that you're on, and they were walking towards the road. It stands to reason they came out from the back door, walked all the way around the house, and rejoined the road. Because it's so dry, you can't really see any, like, you can't, there's not clear footprints or boot prints. You're able to tell by the crushing of the grass and the trail that's been left through the grass. But it's definitely footsteps. It's definitely the evidence of a human passing. And gauging from where the footsteps are, either it's only one person, or, I mean, it's possible that it could have been two people and the second person made sure they stood in exactly the same space, but the likelihood of that is probably not that high. There was probably only one assailant.
Okay. And I can I kind of follow that right the way back?
All the way to the back door, yeah.
Yep. Continue it round then, back. Are there any windows on the outside?
Yes, there are, but they're all curtains shut.
Okay. When Quentin comes round, I will say, it's quite clear around this side that Quentin, that there has definitely been somebody, looks like one, round property back the road.
That is good. I did not see any tracks on my side, so they must have gone round your way.
Yeah, that would make sense, definitely. Well, I can't imagine that you would miss anything.
No.
No, never. I'm highly trained. I'd never miss a thing.
I mean, 10 dice. Really? 10.
10. That's
10
that's crazy.
It's just proof that I never lie about how bad I am at rolling. Well, as we said, 2 eyes is definitely better than 1.
Yeah.
2 pairs, even better than that.
Ah.
It's a not a very heard expression, but trying to bring it to the forefront. Workshopping. Got to have a catchphrase in this business. You should think about one as well.
But I'm not in your business, am I? I'm not a private investigator. I'm just your assistant or servant. Okay.
For now.
Shall we take a look at this door to see how they are getting in?
Of course, yes.
So the
Maybe we
door from the outside.
The door.
The door from the outside is undamaged. There is nothing unusual about it at all. Quentin, you don't notice it, but Morton, you do. Above the door, hanging from a nail, is an iron troll cross. Must be about 6 inches tall.
Oh, obviously, you point it out if it appears to be a troll cross. I believe that has some kind of significance, doesn't it?
Yes, in the old religions, I believe this is likely that she did follow the old gods. Oh, let's hope it didn't seem to protect her from all the evil, unfortunately. There's only so much they can do.
Well, if what I understand of a troll cross is correct, it would not protect against the new religion if there was evil part.
Yes.
And I'll
therein lies the problem.
try the door, and then I guess it's open.
Did you say, is it still open, or is it...
Is the door open already? Or
closed?
It
again?
does indeed open. It reveals beyond it a small room. It looks a bit like a boot room, Small boot room. There's a little rug in the centre of it that gives it a little bit of a homely feel.
Is there any sort of like dust on the floor? Any sort of like disturbed?
No. The room beyond is very clean and tidy.
You find it odd there was no damage to the door, which was apparently broken into.
This does seem odd. I'll examine the inside of the door. Does that look like it might be?
Yes,
broken?
it does. So it looks like this door has been broken out of. It looks like someone broke out of the house. So the outside of the door is perfectly fine. The inside of the door looks like someone has forced their way out, and you can see that because of the scrapes and the damage all around one edge of the door where the lock of that door is. So it looks like someone may have tried to use a crowbar or something of the sort to wedge between the door to try and crack it open, but on the inside.
They did leave in a hurry, didn't they?
They did, and I think the key to here is that they left in a hurry. They weren't coming. They weren't breaking in, were they? Just that they were already in the building.
This case does get curiouser and curious, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay.
Let's follow in and see if we can meet up with Dagmar, see what they have found.
Yes. Being very careful not to disturb anything,
Okay.
in case.
Alright. So, Dagmar, you enter into the house. You are in this nice little room with a little rug and the door opposite the front door.
Now, I've done a little... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I haven't really done any kind of observation of this room at all, but I'm assuming there's nothing really of note.
No, not really. There's nothing on the coat or hat stand, and there's like a little chest of drawers next to it, which I imagine you kind of gently like had a little look in, but there isn't anything in it. It's sort of empty.
Okay.
And then there is the door beyond.
Well, I'm pretty sure Dagmar's going to open that door and move through.
Okay. As you progress further into the house, as you enter into this room in particular, I'm going to need you to give me a fear roll. It is either a logic or an empathy roll. It's up to you. I don't mind which one you want to pick. And that's one of the... That is your attribute roll. So it's right at the top. And you either click on logic or empathy. Now, I'll tell you why you're doing a fear roll, and then you can decide whether Dagmar would try and make sense of it with logic or empathy.
Okay.
There is a dead body sitting on this sofa, and I will find an appropriate token that isn't too inflammatory.
Find your best corpse token.
Doesn't terrify all us D&D players to thinking it's some kind of ghastly undead monster.
We've already had someone make a comment about the rug.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happens with the rug? Don't step on the rug.
Don't step on the rug!
I think ultimately Dagmar would probably apply logic to this situation. Because they were aware that there was death, they're expecting to see a crime scene. They don't know this person. There is no emotional attachment at this moment in time. So I think logic would be the only thing that makes sense.
Fabulous. Give us the logic roll. And you get a... Oh, bam, you didn't need it.
I don't need it.
Fab. Success. Nice. As you
Don't
walk
even
into
need
the room, you see the corpse of an elderly woman slumped in a little, like a one-seater sofa, like little couch. She has grey silver hair that is done in a simple braid, and she is wearing just a simple dress with a shawl over her shoulders, and she is kind of slumped awkwardly in this chair. She hasn't sort of fallen forwards, but she hasn't sort of fallen backwards either. It's like a very strange kind of... Her chin is just resting on her chest, and her hands are to the sides of her. And she is just sat, kind of pale grey, almost blue colour to her skin, just sat in this chair. On the little table in front is a teapot with cups. There is a fireplace in this room, a dining table. There are two very large, full bookcases, and there is a chest of drawers. And that is all the furniture in this room. And the curtains are closed as well to try and preserve the crime scene as much as possible and prevent people from peering in. So the room is a little dim, and with the corpse and the dim light, the room gives you creepy vibes.
So my immediate thought was to go in and at least take a closer look at this body, having applied logic. But due to the dimness, I think Dagmar would instinctively want to try and get some more light to have a look.
Okay.
So I would maybe move to... Is this a window here?
Yep.
Move here and open the curtain. Just to get some light in.
Okay. Boop. Okay, there you go.
At which point she'd return to the body of the poor old lady and then just take a closer look to see if there is anything else that could be observed that may indicate how or why this person died.
Okay. Give me a medicine check.
Medicine.
I think it's medicine. I want to say medicine.
Killing it.
Bam! Okay, so you start looking at the body. Everything about where the body is, how the body is sitting, how the body looks, everything about it kind of gives you... Everything gives you the vibe that this person has just died. There's no wounds on them, you know, there's no stab wound, there's no blood, there's nothing like that on them at all that would suggest that they had been attacked or injured in that way. They are this elderly woman is sitting in a chair, so it's not like she has fallen or anything like that, had an accident. But you do notice something. She has got underneath a couple of her nails, she has got what looks like it could be blood. And you recognize this kind of blood under the nails look. you've been in enough scrapes and enough fights where you have had to wrestle someone off of you to know what it looks like when you have scratched someone in a fight. And it immediately makes you feel that Ranhilda's idea that this is a murder might be correct. Because the body doesn't have any injuries on it, and yet there's blood under the fingernails, suggesting that maybe she tried to defend herself from something.
And what about these sort of cups and teapot on the table? Are they empty?
There are 2 cups, and both of them have tea in. Drunk in various quantities, but there's definitely tea in them. The 3rd cup is a little sugar bowl with a spoon. There is 1 cup in front of Benedicta, the body, and there is another cup that's towards the sofa.
Is there anything, like if I was to pick up a cup and smell the content, does it just smell like tea?
It does. Except, because of your success on your medicine roll,
Yeah.
it does smell like tea. It's not black tea. It's like a herbal tea. And so it has a kind of herbal, there's a sweetness to it, and unmistakably the very faintest smell of almonds.
Okay.
We will cut to Morton and Quentin, who have just come in through the back door.
I was kind of waiting for Quentin to move through and open the next door.
Once Quentin has found that there is nothing in here, he will gently open the door. Obviously looking at it and trying to like open it slowly, so if there's anything on the other side, it doesn't like get knocked over and broken.
So the room beyond looks a little bit like it's been used partly for storage. There is a very large shelving unit on the wall opposite you that is covered in like glass jars filled with preserved things like fish and vegetables. There are fresh vegetables and fruits on the shelves. And there are a few crates in here as well. So it looks a bit like a storage room, a bit like a pantry. There is a big animal skin on the floor that acts a little bit as a rug. And hanging from the ceiling are lots of dried herbs. And there are a couple of wild game birds hanging by their feet.
Mm-hmm. So the fact there's fresh stuff and that definitely sort of reinforces the whole... that it was likely recent. How is the state of the rug? Does it look like, because obviously the back door looks like someone left in a hurry. Is it disturbed in any way, or?
Yeah, actually it is. It is skew whiff, is how I would describe it. It is skew whiff in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Judging by the cleanliness, and I mean, when you look at the shelves, everything is arranged and very well organised. The rug being skew whiff in the room does seem a little out of place compared to how the rest of the room is so well organised. There's even, you notice, even to the point where the herbs hanging from the ceiling have got little, like, tags on them saying what they are. And then there's a rug that's all squiffy on the floor.
I will point that out to Morton, and I will take a closer look at the shelves and that to check that there's definitely nothing that does seem out of place or anything. There's any like ingredients or things that are out there that could be used to, end someone. That she wasn't just storing regular herbs and spices.
She is not storing regular herbs and spices. Well, she is with extras.
Yeah.
These shelves contain a plethora of very normal food ingredients. And a plethora of stuff that isn't normal food ingredients. Wild plants. Some dried, some that look like they've been macerated and suspended in oil or liquid of some description. There is a huge array. In fact, this looks like an apothecary shelf as much as it does a pantry.
Yeah, I was going to say, in his sort of knowledge, does this look more like a healing pantry or a harming pantry, if so to speak?
Are the two so dissimilar?
Unfortunately, no, I feel, from my knowledge of plants and shit.
Yeah, and that is the case. There are several plants on here that you know, if you gave someone enough, it would kill them.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them a small amount, it will break a fever.
Yeah. Are there any jars that are, like, been left empty, or any, like... Do you know when you remove quickly, like, a jar or something, sometimes there's that little, like, dust ring that nobody has, like...
No, and everything is arranged pristinely. Like, whoever lived here was fastidious in their organisation.
Yeah. So it looks like someone brought it with them if something went weird here.
Dagmar, what will you do in the living room as Morton is investigating the as Quentin is investigating the pantry?
So having investigated the immediate area where the body was, I'm just going to turn and peruse the rest of the room now that there is light shining through there. So is there anything obvious standing out to this point?
There are a lot of books in here. So this here in the corner and here in the other corner are bookshelves, and they are laden with books.
Is there a theme to this book collection?
Well, it catches your attention because books are expensive. And these this house doesn't look expensive. But the number of books on these shelves, this person must have been very well off to have such a collection. As you come over and start looking at them, you're a little bit like, ugh, boring. There are things like, history, like literature. But as you keep looking, you the books start to become books on plants, medicine, like herbal remedies. And then they take a strange turn. The tomes start having strange titles. Titles about sigils, about solstices, about phases of the moon, constellations of the stars, astrology, creatures from the forest, beings from under the mountains, the other world. And there is a tome in particular that catches your eye. It is bound completely in black leather, unassuming, quite old. It looks like an antique. And in little letters down the side, it says, "Vengeful Spirits and How to Stop Them."
So, having seen this book entitled Vengeful Spirits and How to Stop Them, assuming I still have my small sack, which I normally keep upon my person, is it too large for me to quickly just stuff into my bag?
I mean, there's no one in the room, and it's not that large at all. It would easily go into your bag without any trouble.
I believe the term is yoink.
Yoink. As you take the book off the shelf and tuck it into your bag, you hear a voice from behind you. And the little voice says, "Did she just put that in her bag?" And as you turn to see where this little voice came from, you all know what's coming. That is where we're going to end this evening's session. They got skills, they're multiplying. Might have to separate you just in case.
When he needs.
True.
All right, well, we get to do all the thank yous and things. So that is the first episode of Chapter 1. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure to share this with you and to get Chapter 2 on the spin. I'm going to say a huge thank you to my cast. I'm going to kind of hand over to the cast so that they can remind you who they are and tell you where you can catch them outside of the society. We'll start with Dan first. Divin Inc.
Sure, thanks. So yes, I'm Dan, also known as Divin Inc. I am a variety streamer on Twitch that can be found on Divin Inc. I'm sure our wonderful mod will give me a shout out. I can also be found on other social media platforms such as Twitter and Instagram, also under Divin Inc.
And Gus.
I'm Gus, and yeah, thank you very much. So, been a pleasure to join in. You can find me on some other social media, but you won't see a lot of content because I don't really post anything. I'm just enjoy playing these games. So, thank you very much for the invite to come along and be involved. So, thanks.
Absolutely. And Matt.
It was wonderful night, and I am the same as Gus, that I am on like social media and stuff like that. On Twitter, I'm at Matt Hopgood, but I'm more of a lurker on social network. Most of the stuff you'll see is me posting about us going live on here, so I'm always a good place to check out if you want to be reminded of the stream. And the odd meme, probably, that I found entertaining.
Well, thank you very much to the cast of Chapter 2. And I want to say a big thank you to Mikey, or Maximilian, as you know him, who has been this evening's moderator in the chat. Thank you very much for keeping our chat safe, sound, and consensual. we're going to say goodbye to our fabulous cast members, and we're going to head on over to our credit roll. So give a wave and a huge thank you to the cast of Chapter 2.
Thank you, wonderful
Yes.
GM as well.
Until next time.
Until next time, exactly. And we are over here at my normal credit roll, where I desperately try to read the credit roll and talk to you at the same time and keep up with it and keep saying thank you and be so full of thanks that I start feeling like the word thank doesn't mean anything. So the Society would like to say a huge thank you to Shusha for her amazing character art. You can see more of the incredible creations that she makes over on her Instagram at Zhuzha UK. A huge thank you to Johan Egerkrans, who is the artist of the Vaesen artbook. I have it behind me. Look, I'm going to do a bit of product placement. The amazing Vaesen artbook, which is the inspiration for the RPG that we played this evening. And with the RPG in mind, a huge thank you to Free League Publishing for their game system and the amazing artwork and rule books and everything that they have put together for Vaesen RPG. If you want to have a little look and get yourself involved in Vaesen RPG, head on over to their website at freeleaguepublishing.com. Check them out, hit them up if you are interested in tabletop games. They have recently released a Lord of the Rings one, which is truly incredible, so go check them out. Our virtual tabletop tonight was Roll20. You can use Roll20 as your own virtual tabletop for free, so it is definitely worth checking out if you like playing tabletop roleplay games. Tabletop audio, almost all of the ambient sound and music, including the train and the haunted house and the village, all have come from Tabletop Audio, and it was all via the Roll20 jukebox. You can head on over to their website at tabletopaudio.com to check out their full range of tracks. Kevin MacLeod is also another amazing artist that is available through the Roll20 jukebox and has contributed some music and ambient sounds to the stream. All the virtual tabletop maps were created by myself for use in the stream on Dungeon Fog. You can head on over to dungeonfog.com and use all the amazing assets there to build maps of your own. The OBS overlays were created by myself using the Valhir runic translator throughout, where you see the crazy runes appearing, and the intro music was made using Music Maker Jam. You can head on over to their resources there and have a little look and maybe create your own intro music if you are interested. I just want to say a big thank you to all of the players who took part this evening, and most importantly to you, our viewers, because we kind of do this for you. I mean, we do it for us so that we can have lots of fun, but we do it on Twitch for you guys. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next week. And now the time has come for, I feel like, what is actually the reason everybody comes here, and that is to see and bear witness to my incredible mediumship skills. So I'm going to try and listen to the voices in my head while we find someone to raid out to. Now, I don't mind who the voices in my head are. I don't know if Mike the moderator, if you've got a raid idea. I'm just gonna wait and listen for the spirits. The spirits of please hold, caller. Right. Okay, so voices. Some voices sort of in my head, some voices sort of digital. I am obviously a modern medium, you know. Claire Digital. That's it, Claire Digital, that's what we're going to call it. Okay, we are heading over to... Okay, cool. /raid. Okay, look, anyone would think I actually haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Okay, so, this is it, the spirits are talking to me. Okay, raid. J-E... Oh, Juliet, Echo, Sierra, Tango Hotel, Echo, Hotel, Uniform, Mike, Alpha, November. Jess the Human. Okay, we are heading on over there. I've done it. I've hit the raid. Digivoyant. Thank you, chat. That is it. I am a Digivoyant. That's it. There you go. We are heading over to our raid right now. So I just want to say a huge thank you to absolutely everyone. And I hope to see you all next week where we find out what on earth is going on in Borgund. See you next week.